I know of people all the time that say, if I only had a raise, then I would do more work, and then I would be happy in my job. Can you see how that's exactly backwards? Instead saying, I'm going to be as productive as I possibly could be by doing those things that are most value to the firm, and then I will have the type of position that I want, or have the money that I want, or you move on. You've probably heard, and people have probably told you, that you're full of potential. I don't care about anyone's potential. I care about what they do with their potential. Potential stored is useless to the world. Potential realized is what we would call production. Potential realized is production. And the way you realize your potential is to create value for others. That's the bridge. On one side of the bridge is potential, on the other side is production. The road to get there is creating value. It's value creation. You start, even if you watch TV, you start to look at the books out there, this is really the way the economy's talking now. People are talking in terms of value creation. Now, higher level, it's not the mainstream media, but I'm hearing about it a lot more. Part of the reason I hear about it a lot more is because I look for that a lot more. When in abundance, when you're in the abundance mindset, you will recognize abundance. When in scarcity, you will repel and you will be blind to abundance. Here's some easy examples of what I'm talking about. Have you ever, thought about buying a car, or have you ever thought about, have you ever taken a course and you learn a term in that course and you never knew it before, but all of a sudden you hear people using that term, or you go to buy that car, all of a sudden you notice that car around all the time? It's like when I was getting married, I noticed that there was all these billboards for like wedding shower or whatever, bridal showers or whatever. I didn't even know what a bridal shower was. But see, that's why I never saw the billboard. All of a sudden, when I had my first kid, I noticed that there's a lot of little kids around. I noticed that on commercials, there were little kids. Before, I didn't really recognize that because that wasn't my mindset. That wasn't what I was looking for. So if you're in scarcity, you may have all the opportunity around you today and not recognize it. And one of the ways people don't recognize it is if they're always looking to take value first. If you want to have more in this life, look to give more. Look at what you can do to create value. And don't do it conditionally. Make it part of who you are. You don't know when the reward will come back. It's hard to measure. I could think of people that I created a lot of value for, or I did my best to create value for them, and they were just consumers and they tried to take as much value as possible. But that relationship led to a whole new relationship of someone they introduced me to that's created tremendous value in my life. What if I'd have said, well, I'm not going to create value. This person's not creating value for me. And then all of a sudden that ends a relationship, or it gets me to think in a consumer mindset, or I start to villainize someone else, or whatever it might be. What do I shut down in my life as opportunity and my way of being? If we stop worrying about external circumstance and what other people think and what we should do based upon that, but instead start to measure by what are we capable of, what are we doing to do our best, and start measuring it based upon our progress, that's much more useful. We're always going to find someone that has more money, that got a better grade on a test, that, whatever, has a nicer car, that has, whatever. We could always find that if that's what we look for. But we can always find happiness if we look for the progress that we make on a daily basis. If we look at what we have control over and what we're capable of in that moment. Because as you focus more on what you have control over, which is your own mind, your own education, your own attention, what you place your attention on is what is going to grow in your life. So what are you placing your attention on? Positivity, abundance, or scarcity? See, if you do what you have control over, it's amazing how your circle of influence expands. If you focus on those things that you can do something about, you can start having more influence and power in those things that you didn't have power in before. So if you ever find yourself thinking that the problem is out there, that very thought is the problem itself. We refer to this as the be, do, have versus have, do, be. I know of people all the time that say, if I only had a raise, then I would do more work, and then I would be happy in my job. Can you see how that's exactly backwards? Instead saying, I'm going to be as productive as I possibly could be by doing those things that are most value to the firm, and then I will have the type of position that I want or have the money that I want, or you move on. See, external circumstances is what too many people look for. When this happens, then. I used to do it all the time in college. When finals are over, I'll be happy. When I'm done with this class, I'll be happy. But if you don't live for the moment, then there's always going to be some other if-then situation that comes along. Always. There's always going to be a situation. I recognized this last year especially. I had 2 partners, both 35 years of age. They died in a plane crash. Now, here's the best news about all of that, is that they lived life to the highest level while they were here. They didn't say, we're going to wait, and then when 30 years from now, we're going to retire, and then life will be good. That's not how they lived their life. They lived it by each moment and each day. And one of the guys was a radio show host. I'm a co-host with him. I was a co-host with him, and now I host the show. And each day he said, this is Les McGuire, the man who loves his life. And so that seemed like such a simple tagline. But when you really start to think about what he was saying, and you really start to analyze it, what he's saying is, each day is a blessing. Each thing that happens is a lesson. Each moment is an opportunity. And what would it take to be the type of person that loved their life in this moment? Not, I'll be happy when I graduate and I get the right job. Not, I'll be happy when whatever. Just think, each day, if you were to wake up, and just do this, each day wake up. This is your abundance exercise. Just wake up in the morning, and first thing in the morning, say at least 5 things you're thankful for. Every morning. What are you grateful for? You know, it's like, my wife was blow drying her hair this morning, and she said, I hate my hair. I said to her, it sure is nice to have it though, isn't it? Do you like it better than the alternative? And she said, I guess I do. See, everything in life and everything we value is all about perspective. So it's amazing when we get a better perspective on what's going on, how easy it is to deal with situations that once seemed to be so difficult or such a burden or such a big deal. And part of the way to do that is start to express gratitude for those people that have created value in your life, and start to express gratitude for the great things that you have about your life, and that will foster abundance. If all you focus on are all the things that you lack, you're going to become a consumer. You're going to become more miserable. And to me, on a very real level, that's the satanic influence, is scarcity. You want to see wonderful people full of potential do insane things, watch those people in scarcity. The interesting thing about it is money happens to be one of the things that creates some of the most scarcity-minded things that I've ever seen. People destroy years and years and years of relationship over one little issue about money. People don't live the life that they want to live based upon they don't think that they have enough or there isn't enough money. People don't pursue the professions that they want to pursue and do the things they want to do because they think if they go do the things that are going to earn money in the short term, that'll make the difference. Once again, that's a someday attitude. Someday, I'll have enough money to do the things I love to do. Look, start to think, what is it that you love to do now? And start to do those things if that's not what you're already doing. That's what's going to cultivate you being the best producer you can be. Any of us can create some amount of value. But what about creating the maximum amount of value? Get this, and it will be as valuable as any strategy, tool, technique, education that you can have. You see people that have millions and millions of dollars, but you know you have more intelligence than them. They're just dumb enough to believe in abundance and live in it. Sometimes we're so smart, we can think of all the reasons why scarcity exists. What about being just smart enough to say, look, I'm going to accept that there's abundance. I'm going to accept that I can make this next choice. Even though what happened in the past is difficult, I'm going to make the next best option with the next choice. You know, think about the widows and the kids that were left behind from my 2 partners. When you're around the spouses, it's inspiring because of their view of life, because of their perspective and what they were thankful for up until that, like what did they get to experience up until that point? Well, that's why they felt lost, is because of all the great things that happened before then. And just because their husbands continue to live principle and have those conversations, we've seen amazing results in the way that they're raising their family, the way that they're living their life, the perspective they continue to have on a day-to-day basis, the way they inspire other people that have gone through difficult things in their life. I mean, I went to the funeral, and at the end, I was inspired to be a greater person. Why? Because if you commit to living your life as a producer and to be extraordinary, you're going to have to do a few things. Number one, you're going to have to break some social agreements. Social agreements are what everyone knows to be normal at that time, what everyone knows to be reasonable. More success is limited by reasonable people than we could imagine. Sometimes it takes being unreasonable. Now let me explain that a little bit. We have so many reasons. I would do this, but. I could do this, but. It's all of these buts that we bring up, right? But being unreasonable would say, look, I know this is out of the ordinary. I know this is extraordinary. I know that, taking a midnight flight to get somewhere. I know that driving somewhere to spend some time with someone, to create some value for them. I know that, spending money to further my education outside of just the classroom, all these things are unreasonable. But those are the things that make the difference. When we go beyond our reasons for staying where we currently are. That's the definition that I'm talking about.
Want to master your money? Want to figure out the things that you could do to improve your finances? Click here and check out more videos like this on Money Matters.